We're going to do a roast with the BC8 double wall 2024 model using the manual dial damper for airflow control. So we'll give you the readings on that. Turning on the igniter, it's already been preheat. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to charge the beans. We've got 6.5 pounds of Brazil beans. I've got this set for 100. I've got the airflow at about 2 3/4. I'm going to start my timer and I'm going to charge the beans. Airflow on this, as I mentioned, is about 2 3/4. I'm closing the hopper. The drum speed is at 80%. And the KPA we did have low because I was preheating at a low speed. I'm going to turn it up to about 2.5 and then I'll adjust it as need be based on the rate of rise. And it is a very hot day in Phoenix, Arizona. Supposed to hit 110 today. It's probably 105 now. Not sure what it is in here, but my camera has been overheating since it's my old camera, so we may have a condensed video of this. But generally, when you charge the beans, unless you do a soak, which I didn't on this, you're looking at about 1 minute and 15 seconds to 1.5 minutes. You have to turn around. It's about ready. There it is. It's about ready to do the turn around at 191.8 at 124 seconds. And so now we're going to see the rate of rise, and we'll judge based on the rate of rise during the drying phase as to whether I need to turn up the KPA on the gas pressure or turn it down. This is a propane roaster. So as you can see, I've got it up to a little over 2 point, but it's really at about 2.6 kPa. If this were a natural gas roaster, I may have it up to 1.5 kPa. It just depends on a number of circumstances. And the rate of rise, and all these things are going to be partly determined based on how well you preheated the roaster. Also the ambient temperature outside, the size of the roast. In this case it's 6.5 pounds in an 8-pound roaster, so it's not full capacity, but it's getting pretty close. So all these things are going to weigh into what you may want your gas pressure on and your air flow on. Generally during the drying phase, I try to keep my air pressure low, and as I mentioned, we're doing it exclusively with the manual dial damper. So the air volume controller, the electronic airflow, is turned up to 100%, and this is almost at 3 on the manual dial damper. If I notice excessive buildup of chaff during the drying phase, I might bump up the airflow a little bit more, but otherwise I try to keep it fairly low during the drying phase, 2.5, 3, and then during the mallard or the grounding phase, run it up 4 to 5, maybe even 6. Part of this is going to depend on the size of the load, and also even on my venting. If I have really short venting, and I don't need as much positive air pressure to push all that smoke out of the drum, I may not turn it up as high. So here we can see at the rate we're going, and I'm also using Artisan here to judge, which gives you that nice predictive feature. I don't know if you can see Artisan over there or not, but it gives you that nice predictive feature, and it's telling me that at 5 minutes I'm going to be about 320 degrees or so, and that looks about right, because if you look at the control panel, I don't know if you can see it since we're zoomed out to get a a wide angle view, but we're at 293 degrees at 4 minutes and 24 seconds. So I think we're going to reach 520 right around 5 minutes, which is kind of my target, but it all depends on the type of bean, also what you want to achieve. Some people do the drying phase in 3.5 to 4 minutes, and especially in a smaller roaster. Some will stretch it out to as much as 7 minutes. But you want a percentage, basically, where your mallard phase, your browning phase, if you can, be about 30% or so. So yeah, here we are. We're just a little over 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and let me give you an exact here. Oh, when we hit 320. So we're at 320 right now at 5:15. I'm marking that down on my Artisan, and because of that, it's telling me that I'm going to hit probably the first crack in just about 2 minutes or under. So I'm going to bump back my gas to about 1 1/2. Maybe a little radical. I'm going to bump up my airflow to about 4.5, and I'm going to see how that pans out, because I want my mallard phase. Let's see, 5 minutes, 15 seconds. So that's where we ended the browning. So 6, 7, 8. If I can get it up to 8 minutes and 15 seconds on the browning phase, that would be ideal. And then a couple minutes on the roasting phase. So we're looking pretty good, and using Artisan mainly for that predictive feature. It still looks like it's going to go into first crack before the time that I want it to. And so I'm going to actually bump up my airflow and see if that slows down the rate of rise or speeds it up, and it actually looks like it's speeding it up. So I'm going to bump back my gas to about 1 1/4, and I'm going to bump down my airflow to just about 5. And so we're almost at 7 minutes. We're at 362 degrees. I'm guessing the first crack will be about 390. So we got about 25 degrees, and I'd like to see it go another minute to 1.5 minutes. So let's see what my predictive feature on Artisan is telling me. It's still telling me that it's going to be before 8 minutes that we're going to hit close to 400 degrees. But I'm going to hold off and wait. So I'm at 1 1/4 kp airflow at 5. Drum speed is still kept at 80%, and we're now at 7 minutes 40 seconds at 377 degrees. So I'm guessing around 390, 395 the Brazil beans will go into first crack. So we're going to be right around where I want it to be. And Artisan still tells me that well, it's actually telling me we may be okay. Yeah, we should be okay, because it's now 8. I'll tell you, it's 8 minutes and 15 seconds at 389 degrees. So we should be going into first crack in a number of seconds here. And so that's right about where I wanted it to go. So what I'm going to do right now, I don't see the need to pull back any more on the gas. I am going to bump up the airflow to about 6. And we are going into first crack now at about 8 minutes 45 seconds, I think it was. 8 minutes 42 seconds at 398 degrees. And it's telling me I'm going at a fairly slow pace, so on the rate of rise on during the roasting phase, which is okay with me. I don't mind if it goes a couple minutes I'm going to go over and take a peek at my beans. Yeah, they're looking really nice. I don't know how well you can see it from that distance, but a nice, even, lighter brown. Some people would drop their beans now at about 4:15. I like to take my Brazil at least up to 4:30. That's just me personally. So we're at 9 minutes 45 seconds. We've been a little over a minute into the roasting phase since first crack. About a minute and 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and it's now at 420 degrees. I'm going to bump my airflow up to 6.5. And if you've been watching the airflow temperature, it's at 446 degrees. My bean temperature is 420, just at 425, 10 minutes to 20 seconds. So if I can take this up to a 10.5-minute roast, that will have meant that I've gone a little over 2 minutes in the roasting phase. I'm going to take a look at my beans. Yeah, I like what they look like. I'm going to actually take them up to about 435. So we're almost there. It's 10 minutes, 47 seconds. Okay, here we are, 435, 10 minutes, 52 seconds. I'm going to turn on my mixing arms and my cooling. I'm going to turn off my gas. And I'm going to open the drum. I'll take you over there. Hopefully you can see in there. That's 6.5 pounds of Brazil coffee, cooling in the BC8 cooling tray. Our roast was just under 11 minutes, 10 minutes, 58 seconds. We dropped the beans at about 437 degrees. Now obviously if I was doing a next roast, I would have closed the drum door right away, had my beans in the hopper, and charged them by now. But because this is just a test, I'm going to go ahead and open my drum, open my airflow all the way up in my hopper, and begin to let the roaster cool down. But in about 3 minutes, these beans should be nice and cool, keeping in mind that it's about 110 here in Arizona. And there you go. There's a roast in the 2024 BC8 double wall using the airflow system with the manual dial damper.